Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this venture. I hope that you've been enjoying your day, because today we'll be taking a look at Fenrir, or Gar, as I'm going to prefer. If you enjoyed the video, as always, leave a like for more. So Fenrir, as you already know, is the son of Loki and Angerboda, the giantess, making him the brother of Hel of Helheim and Jormungandr, the great serpent. Fenrir himself is a giant wolf with fearsome jaws and imposing stature. He can speak just as well as any other god, and his cunning makes him all the more interesting. He is indeed a wolf, with a nice grin and memorable dance emote, but also is fairly large for the type of creature that he is, and just can't seem to stop growing, but is also just as intelligent as any god could be. He's also sporting black fur and sometimes struts that chained-up look from time to time. Fenrir exists as part of a prophecy that spells the end of all things in the known universe, a cycle of rebirth, if you will, in Norse mythology, Ragnarok. It is said that Fenrir will consume the very sky, the moon, and the earth come Ragnarok, and as such would grow to be an unthinkable size. Fenrir is mentioned across many different runes. The runes hold a great deal of knowledge in Norse mythology, and Odin, the Allfather, hung himself from a tree without food or water for 9 days just to gain some of the information for himself. Hyres decided to use 5 of these runes for Fenrir's passive. Please excuse my pronunciation for this part. I didn't find pronunciations, but the first Tiwaz, meaning tear, the letter T being the translation in English, meaning victory or honor. This rune features an arrowhead as the rune symbol. Then this one could be Hagalaz. I'm not too sure if it is, just because of the way that it looks in-game, but I'm assuming it's Hagalaz, meaning hail, the letter H as its kind of symbol, meaning destruction or chaos. Then we have Nordiz, need, meaning, well, need or unfulfilled desire, and having the letter N for its symbol. And we have Birkanan, birch, letter B for its symbol, meaning fertility, growth, and sustenance. And then we have Iwas, you, as its meaning you, with the letter I meaning strength and stability. Bit of backstory for Fenrir's passive there. Loki may have been his father, but Fenrir completely terrified the trickster. It is Loki that will free the great Fenrir at Ragnarok, but he had very little interest in raising his son after he grew larger than a pup. Even Angerboda understood that Fenrir had to be tamed in some way, shape or form, even if she originally thought his appearance was funny and quite enjoyable. Instead, the gentleman likely had a much deeper connection to Tyr, the god of war, and the sky, among other things, who kept Fenrir well fed. Fenrir also found the time to somehow get a wife, Hyrrokin. With Fenrir, she has given birth to many giant wolves, such as Skoll and Heti. However, this could potentially be incorrect. Most places seem to be in agreement that indeed Hyrrokin was the mother of Fenrir's children, but others say that Janvida, a wolf woman, could have been the mother, or even Angerboda herself, which doesn't exactly have the nicest implications. Skoll and Heti were the only ones who did not leave their father's side during his binding, and even tried in vain to free their father from his bindings. Eventually Odin captured them and made good use out of them, having them chase the chariots which pulled the sun and moon across the sky. They did not seem to spend all of their time in the sky, but they were punctual when needed. I'm just gonna mention this as a side note, but I was thinking if those two, Skoll and Heti, were added into Smite, if they could be one character and kind of have a stance change where one of them is one stance, the other is another stance, or maybe you alt as one of them and become the other. Just a cool little idea that I thought up, but that's enough speculation for this video. Fenrir was the first of 3 children born to Loki, with Angerboda. Loki took him back with him to Asgard after Odin discovered his existence, at which point Fenrir was still a pup. The gods learnt of the children's violent future, which promised only death and chaos. Now see, in fear of this possibility, the other gods found different ways to tame the beasts, and Fenrir got the best deal out of the 3. You have Jormungandr being just thrown into the sea instantly without much question. Then you have Hel being sent to quote-unquote rule Helheim, and Fenrir getting to live with the other gods in Asgard. So, yeah, he got the immediate best deal. Now this was in part mainly due to the fact that Fenrir was the one that they feared the most and didn't want to let him out of their sights. So, according to them, they would say that they raised him themselves. By they, I really do just mean Tyr, the god of law and the sky, among other things. Fenrir, being a big boy wolf, grew too large far too quickly, and the gods entered panic mode, deciding that he couldn't stay in Asgard for much longer. Under the guise of tests, the gods were able to attempt to bind Fenrir with several types of chains, all of which the fearless and proud canine destroyed. The gods became restless. Word was sent to Svartalfheim. Everyone knows that dwarves make good stuff, and were able to make a chain out of cat's footsteps, the beard of a woman, the roots of mountains, the breath of a fish, the spittle of bird. Essentially, things that do not exist. Gleipnir was the end result. A special chain was presented to Fenrir, but it didn't look like a chain, it looked like a weak ribbon. Fenrir, feeling insulted, but also, more importantly, suspecting trickery afoot, asked for some sort of sign of goodwill to be given by the gods so that he could be rest assured that there was no tricks at play. Tyr volunteered his hand, placing it into Fenrir's mighty mouth. So when Fenrir failed to break free from Gleipnir, he had some good old croissant a la Tyr hand before being bound. He was also pretty pissed about this, but you know, he still got his nice hand, so yeah. Fenrir, in his new ribbony home, was taken away to a desolate and cold place. The gods even placed a sword in his jaws, just for the lols and to keep it open, so that he couldn't really use it to, you know, try to break free. In defeat, our friend let out a great howl, and there he stayed until Ragnarok. On the bright side, though, Fenrir gets some yummy vengeance at Ragnarok when he eats both Tyr and Odin, because Odin was kind of a dick to him. Of course, one of Odin's sons eventually do avenge their father, but Fenrir still gets to say that he was luckier than Jormungandr and Hel. Arguably Hel, but definitely luckier than Jormungandr. So, yeah. This is probably going to be the shortest fact section ever, but most other wolves referred to in Norse mythology are likely probably just Fenrir with different names, such as Garm or Fenris. That's about all I have for the fact section, which means that's all I have for the rest of the video. If you enjoyed and felt like you learned something new, then go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't quite enjoy it, then go ahead and tell me why leaving a dislike as you do so. If you're new to the channel and want more content, want me to cover a specific god, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already for more great content just like this. Thank you for checking out the video up until this point, and until next time, have a very good day. Enjoy your weekend. I've been Prime. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.